I follow politics pretty much every day, pretty closely through various media, newspapers, magazines, books, podcasts, television, but I don't want to include politics on this channel. And believe me, I've been tempted several times because I don't think people watch this channel for that reason. After all, this is the Kazdoy Closet. I'm Kazdoy. That's my closet full of all the stuff that I love. And today, 4 political films that can just speak for themselves, and that will probably reveal where I'm coming from anyway. Let's check it out. We're going to go chronologically, starting with A Face in the Crowd from 1957 in beautiful black and white. This is about the rise and fall of Larry Lonesome Rhodes, a country western singer discovered in a drunk tank by a radio producer. His charisma and his populous personality shoot him to the heights of TV stardom until his ego and his political ambitions lead to his downfall. This is directed by Elia Kazan and written by Bud Schulberg. They both collaborated on the classic On the Waterfront, which also has some social commentary. Andy Griffith is the star here. This is his first feature film. Now, I think right around this time in his career, he was mostly sort of a comedian. I had an album way back in the day of top comedy bits, and one was called What It Was Football. And that was Andy Griffith's comedy bit where he plays this kind of hayseed guy who's seeing a football game for the very first time and describing it like in objective terms. And it's pretty funny, so seek it out if you want to. But then, of course, he went on to star in the Andy Griffith Show from 1960 and 1968. But his image here is not like the typical Andy Griffith Show image. It's much darker, much more edgy. So definitely worth seeing just to see him in that kind of role. Of course, he went on to star in Matlock from 1986 to 1995. Patricia Neal plays the radio producer. She was in one of my favorite science fiction films of all time, The Day the Earth Stood Still, also in HUD. And also showing up here, Walter Matthau and Lee Remick. Now, why I chose this film is, well, it's really a parable for our times and a razor-sharp commentary. The radio producer learns she created a monster as Lonesome Rhodes starts using slogans and manipulation to deceive the public, and how the public falls for what he's doing, and he just begins to show contempt for them. It also shows the influence of television in politics, which was a fairly new medium still at that time. My second choice for political films is The Manchurian Candidate. This is the original from 1962 in beautiful black and white as well. This is about a U.S. Army sergeant who was a Korean War POW, and he is brainwashed into becoming a sleeper assassin in a communist conspiracy, while his fellow former POW slowly uncovers the sinister plot. It was directed by John Frankenheimer, and what a great filmography he's had. This comes in between his films The Birdman of Alcatraz and 7 Days in May. He also directed great films like The Train and Seconds. Lawrence Harvey plays the assassin. Frank Sinatra is his friend, is this fellow, a former POW, who's trying to figure out what's going on. I would assume this is Sinatra's best role and probably his best film. I've only seen a couple of films that he's appeared in, but I don't see how he could top this with some of the other films he's been in. Angela Lansbury plays Lawrence Harvey's domineering mother, and if you've seen this film, you know that she's unforgettable in this, and she is not anything like her Murder, She Wrote character, her easygoing kind of gentle character in that. This is totally different. And there's one scene that if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. So why did I choose The Manchurian Candidate? Well, just that phrase alone has kind of taken on its own meaning to mean any person who infiltrates the government and will be activated later on to do something evil. This film, from what I recall, disappeared for several years because it was released in 1962. Soon thereafter, and the next year, JFK was assassinated. So I think because of that assassination theme, They pulled this film out of circulation for quite a while, but now, of course, you can see it. It really captures the communist paranoia of the time and the Red Scare of the time, and it features extreme right-wing politicians who are in reality are enemies and traitors of the government. The cinematography and structure of the film, very bold, very interesting, especially for that time, really challenging for the audience. You have to kind of work to, especially the brainwashing sequences, the audience has to work to figure out what's going on there. My third pick for 4 great political films is Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb from 1964. Beautiful black and white also. This is Stanley Kubrick's classic dark comedy / satire, which is another take on the Cold War, as a nuclear attack on the USSR is ordered by an unbalanced general. This was directed by Stanley Kubrick. He also was one of the writers on this. This falls in between his films Lolita and 2001: A Space Odyssey. Just imagine that filmography is just stunning. Peter Sellers, and probably his greatest film, plays 3 different roles. He's a captain, he's the president, he's Dr. Strangelove himself. Each character totally defined, different look, different makeup, different costume, and just hilarious in its own rights. He was actually supposed to play a 4th role, Major Kong, but the story goes he hurt his ankle during the filming, so that role went to Slim Pickens, which was probably a good choice. Also appearing here, George C. Scott, Sterling Hayden, who was also in Kubrick's early film The Killing, Keenan Wynn, and Slim Pickens, like I mentioned. Why'd I choose this? This is, it's one of my top 10 favorite films. Kubrick is probably my favorite director. It's funny. It has dry humor. It's satirical about power. It even has some weird sexual overtones to it. It's filled with classic performances and sequences. There's so many stories about the production. Originally, Kubrick wanted to make a serious film, but he found the whole thing so appalling and overwhelming, he decided to turn it into a dark comedy instead. They filmed a pie fight in the war room. There's photos of it you can see, but they never included it in the film, which is, again, probably a good idea. And it also reflects concerns of society at that time about the doomsday machine and the Red Scare and communist propaganda. You could do an entire episode just about this film, of course. There's even been entire books written about it. And before I get to my 4th choice for political films, keep in mind I will tell you something about the discs at the end and also where you can see these films. So my number 4 pick is Being There. This is from 1979. This one's in color, of all things. It's about an illiterate gardener in Washington, D.C., who understands the world only by watching television, what he sees on TV. And he's taken under the wing by a tycoon who mistakes this gardener's mumblings as profound insights into life and politics. Directed by Hal Ashby, who was one of the preeminent directors of the 1970s, along with Scorsese and Coppola and Altman. Again, screenplay was by Jerzy Kosinski, based on his novel. And again, we have Peter Sellers starring, probably his most understated role, again, one of his best roles. He used Stan Laurel, he says, as an inspiration for this role. And he was nominated for Best Actor, did not win. He died soon thereafter at the young age of 54. Seems young to me now. Also, we have Melvin Douglas, who won Best Supporting Actor for this, and Shirley MacLaine and Jack Warden showing up here. I chose this. Honestly, I haven't seen this one in a while. I was going to watch it before this episode, but I just didn't. So I do need to revisit this one. But it says something about human behavior and how we project qualities onto a person based on our own needs and our own desires. Again, shows the power of the media, especially television medium. And it also shows how simplistic ideas can be misinterpreted as something profound and something to be taken seriously. All the films I showed you today are actually on the Criterion label, and they're all packed with extra features. Where can you see these films? The only one I see streaming right now is A Face in the Crowd, and that's on the Criterion channel. Otherwise, the rest of them could be rented through like Amazon Prime or probably YouTube or something. They can be purchased, but I would wait for a Criterion 50% off sale before you did that. And you probably get each one for about $20. You can also try your local public library if they have it, or they can get it for you from another branch, and that's free. So feel free to leave a comment or suggestion down below. What's your favorite political film? Loyal viewer / subscriber Tina mentioned Wag the Dog. That's a good choice, but please feel free to share your own personal choices. Subscribing would be great. Share this with your friends and neighbors. Subscribing is free. Also free is we're on the Letterboxd app under the Kazdoy Closet. There's a link down below in the notes. Most recently, we left brief reviews for several films, including Blink Twice, The Vortilac, You Hurt My Feelings, The Cell, Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, Lousy Carter, and Humane. So check those out. That's free. What's not free is my ebook is available now through Amazon.com. It is True Tales from the Teacher Trenches, the ups and downs from 32 years of teaching. And that's for your Kindle. If you don't have a Kindle, you can use the free Kindle app on any device of your choice. And this ebook will cost you the enormous sum of $1.99. So check that out. Otherwise, hey, hope you like this episode. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.